I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. My guest and friend today is His Excellency Engineer Saeed Al Remeithi.
I was assigned as a CEO. I did not know it.
He needs steel.
My friends were there. Okay.
How we make our best decisions. My guest today is...
I didn't finish your coffee.
It's probably, yeah. I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. You have a question? No, it's so good because when you were saying something, I'm going, I want to ask this question, and I want to ask this question.
I feel like that.
I forgot what I wanted to ask.
I get upset about this. Write it down. I'm enjoying this actually. So,
Okay, super. I'm glad you are enjoying it. My guest was born, raised, and educated in a public school in Abu Dhabi. He graduated in 2000 with a BSc in Electrical Engineering from the California State University of Long Beach. In 2001, he came back to Abu Dhabi and joined GHC, General Holding Corporation, which is today Sanaat. He did that for a year. In 2002, he joined Emirates Steel as a production engineer. My guest is a friend whom I and many around here admire, both regionally and globally. He was the first UAE national to be appointed as CEO of Emirates Steel, a company that he's been with for close to 2 decades. Under his leadership, he has led the company to becoming the largest integrated steel producer in the United Arab Emirates, exporting to over 40 countries and turning over 7 billion dirhams annually. He is also the chairman of the World Steel Association Economic Committee. My guest is a father of 4, but also a father figure to over 3,000 employees. And yet, with everything going around, he's able to maintain and manage a healthy and active life. My guest is a man who finds the good in any situation, a man who finds himself leading in any given context, a man whom, for the sizable mark that he's making, is rather humble. My guest and friend is what I call the man of steel. I am super delighted that he's made the time to be here today. A friend, an inspiration, someone I really look up to, and I'm sure that with this episode, if it's even possible to look up to him at an even higher level. This is How Do They Do It? I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. My guest and friend today is His Excellency Engineer Saeed Al Remeithi. Saeed, thank you for coming here.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
You were a popular kid when you were at school.
I thought so.
And when you changed schools, you somehow found your way around. Mm-hmm. Did it come naturally to you?
I think so. I thought I was okay, not popular as popular, more than like, I think I get along. I stood out somehow, from others, especially at when it comes to school, when it comes to activities, when they wanted someone to really do something as a leader or something, then I was one of the, let's say, the boys that
the go-to guy. Go to Saeed.
Yeah. So I thought I was a little bit responsible even when I was kid.
Interesting. Did this come as a result of how you were shaped at home?
Part of it, I think, but I think it's also a personality because I have I have, mashallah, many brothers and sisters.
God bless.
But from the family also, I thought my father was always looking up to me, and he was always putting me in a spot where I'm responsible of something.
So even though you were the middle child?
Yeah, even though that he's there's something that's need to be done, it's always I'm the one who does it. I would say there's any responsibility in terms of doing something for the house.
Saeed is the go-to guy.
Okay, get Saeed, maybe because it's I would try my level best to do it, I would say. So my father, somehow, I think he had really big part of it.
Yes.
Because he would assign me to so many things when I was kid.
Perhaps he noticed it in you.
I thought so.
Yes.
I thought so. And even when I finished school, I asked him I wanted to to go to the state to really study. And he said, okay, just whatever you want, do it, but just don't do something wrong. I know you would do your level best, but just don't do something wrong, and just whatever you want, just go and do it. Whatever you want to study, it's up to you, absolutely up to you.
What made you think, I want to go to the States? Like, why did you choose California?
Well, choosing California because honestly, my friends were there. Okay.
How we make our best decisions.
I knew people there,
Yes.
so that's why, like, it was easier for me just to really go and like, live with them for to start. But choosing the state, I think it was something deep inside. I thought this is something will made me.
Yes.
Like, if I graduated from the state and I come back with this, we say, big certificate,
An achievement.
and something that I would do that will help me to really be something in the UAE. And
Yes.
this is what I really wanted. Like, I wanted to do something where it's Saeed is a really a UAE national who is a role model, who can really one UAE national who can really do something.
And you had this in your mind as a kid. I mean, at this stage, you're 18, 19?
Yes, I was, of course, and it was not really easy. It's like, especially going there, it was, let us say, almost my first trip.
Yes.
Going all the way to California, away from home. So it was like,
You don't have the Emirati dishes?
exactly, like,
The
and
food.
like, and be so independent. I was independent, but like, there it's you are on your own.
Yes.
I mean, everything you do yourself. Even choosing your classes and all this, that was not something I was so used to it. Even the education system here is different.
Yes.
In the state, you go there and like, you have to really choose everything that for yourself. So at school, like, having my apartment, washing dishes, cooking and all that. So it was not really easy, more than like, I would say it's also give me a really good exposure. It was not really also something I would not really do, or it will make me fail.
Yes.
But homesick was also there. I mean, I had a big family here. I was very comfortable. I had my sport car. By the time I was in high school, I had it all. But to go there and challenge myself, study there. English also was an issue because,
Yes.
As you said, I was graduated from a public school. So going there, learn English professionally, and then go to school and graduate. It was.
Get inspired.
Whether you're in Dubai for business or pleasure, the last thing you want to do is blow your budget on accommodation, which is why I recommend you check out our host venue partners, Rove Hotels. Beyond being price sensitive, what I love about Rove Hotels is the fact that they are a combination of cafe, culture, and just coolness. Even my guests, many of them, when they arrive before we record or after we finish recording the podcast, they actually comment. They go, wow, this place is cool. The vibe is amazing. And it is amazing. So if you're in Dubai for business or pleasure, I recommend you check out our host venue partners, Rove Hotels. This episode is brought to you by M Dojo. Whether you're in business or new to business, you need three things: a good website, traffic, and being able to convert that traffic into paying customers. That's what M Dojo does best. They're able to create for you a functional, state-of-the-art website, drive targeted traffic, and put in all the elements needed in order to convert that into paying customers. Isn't that what you want? Of course it is. Give the team at M Dojo a call and see how they can help you increase your sales and profits. Tell them I sent you. Their website, mdojo.co. You had everything here, comfortable.
Yeah, I could just go to a university here, or join the military. I had all the choices, but I thought no, I wanted to do something more.
That's interesting. So you actively put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
Exactly. Even though for the first one or second day, so okay, what did I do to myself?
Why am I here?
What did I do to myself? I could have been home now, but no, I thought it's something. Since I decided, then I will do it.
And what was the lesson when you look back now? And how long were you there for?
Almost 6 years. 6 years.
So over the 6 years, you would have gone you've gone through the discomfort, phase, and then you got used to it, and then it became a way of life. When you reflect back now on it, what would you say was the lesson or some lessons you actually learned from that experience? Or at least that stand out for you?
I would say the word patient. You have to be patient.
You learned patience over there?
Yes, definitely.
Interesting.
Definitely, because as 18, 19 years old.
Oh, we just want everything
yes,
now.
I wasn't patient at all. Like I want
Welcome to the
everything to
club.
really, I want everything to really happen fast. I want to do things very quickly. Like I get irritated very quickly if things are not really happening in my way. But there, no, it's not the way anymore. So you have you have to calm down. You have to really listen. You have to really have patience. Things cannot really go as you want all the time.
Yes.
So I thought that's something I learned there, and this is a really good exposure for a young person, to really travel abroad and then be fully independent, doing his stuff. I think it's a really nice exposure. It's just teach you a lot.
Yes.
Teach you about yourself, so you know yourself, but also teach you to really discipline and simply independent to really continue your life. And then when I came back, I think that's also helped me in my career.
Yes.
Because I've been always, alhamdulillah, even in my career, I was always promoted where I was not really asked for, more than someone actually put me in this position because they thought it's I can deliver, and I'm so I would say responsible but accountable person to really do that.
They saw the potential in you, so that they ask you rather than you.
In my whole career, since I started, production engineer all the way to the CEO, I was never ever asked for any position I've got, and I'm very proud of this. It's always somebody who comes and said, "Look," even when I was assigned as a CEO, I did not know it. The chairman at that time called me. It was evening time. I was driving. He called me. Said, "Okay, Saeed, we are assigning you to be a CEO of Emirates Steel." I was so shocked. I stopped the car. I could not even drive.
Say what?
I remember that night. It was a shock. Okay, not as shocking as I do not really deserve it. More than I did not really expect it.
Yes.
And the way he did put it was very also challenging. He said, "I'm assigning you. We are assigning you as a CEO. So can you do it or not?" Something like that. So I said, "Of course I can do it." Then he said, "Okay, the field is yours. Go and do it." So I was there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to absorb this.
I was going to say, what? Can you tell me? Can you remember the feelings when you were pulled up there, hearing something like this?
Exactly. I was I would not really say scared, more as I said, it's something, okay, this is something big.
Yes.
I need to really do it right. So it is somehow scary, it's something, it's a big company, and it's a big responsibility.
Yes.
So, but I think this is one of the good things I'm also proud of, because that's what made me take this responsibility and try my level best.
Yes.
Feeling a little bit scared is also good in life,
Yes.
just because you want to really do things in the best way. You don't want to really fail. You don't
Yes.
want to, some people, they want it as, okay, it's a position, CEO, so it's why you are so scared. Actually, on the same night, I was going to meet a couple of my friends, and then I was late. And then when I came, I met them, they said, "Okay, you're late." And I was somehow, I would say, panicking, and he said, "Okay, what's wrong?" I told them, "Okay, well, I just been assigned as a CEO, and I'm just I'm a little bit scared." And then my friends were laughing. And even until today, they make joke out of it. You are promoted, and then you're not really happy. So what's wrong with you? No, I told them that it's a big accountability, it's a big responsibility.
Yes, I was just going to say, because you seem like the responsible person. That's probably that element of fear or being scared is because you're thinking of the responsibility.
Yes, and I don't like to fail.
Yes.
And not especially when it comes to people. This is an organization where, as you said, there's at that time we are 2,000 employees. Responsible of such number, and the business where turnaround was almost 2 billion dirhams. It's not really a joke. And then I was also challenged, because, as I said, the chairman, when he puts it, can you do it? So he's he's betting on me. So I'm assigning you, but I want really good things. But alhamdulillah, ever since, I think
Alhamdulillah.
it was
well done, well deserved, and a great bet.
Alhamdulillah, thank you.
Yeah,
so
because just history says it.
Alhamdulillah.
And I'm sure the future will be even greater.
I hope so.
What you say is really interesting because when you have professions, even like say as a production engineer, where you started, or you have an architect or someone practicing law, it's a very procedural job, so you kind of have the experience, or you've studied about it, and it's tuck, 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 and you can follow some sort of a process. What a lot of people don't think about is being a CEO, especially the first-time CEO, and I've spoken to many CEOs who will all say, people that don't realize the first time you're a CEO, it's very scary, and there's actually no manual.
Definitely.
To do it.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I did not know that other CEOs were scared.
Every single one of them.
I thought that I was the only one. Okay. Of course, but I think, see, the technicality is really important. I mean, knowing stuff is important.
Sure.
Like, I had good experience before I came CEO, and I think this is something also helped me a lot to really evolve and develop the business, because I came from the operations. I came from the production, where I know how the business is evolved, but of course I was not really exposed to the commercial aspect of the business, which was also one of the things that a lot of people bet that I would not really do good.
Yes.
But alhamdulillah, it turns out to be something very interesting for me, and I think we can talk about this later. But I think the humanity is really a big part of it. It's actually more important than the other things. For me, this is something really essential, and it starts even with my career. When I started, even inside the factory, at that time when I started as a production engineer, one of the things that I was good at is just dealing with people.
Yes.
And I thought the people also liked dealing with me, so they always looked for me for support. So if they would have problems, issues, they would always come to me. We had at that time a technical manager who was so deep into the technicality, because the plant was always in the commission stage. So he was always focusing on how to really get to the production.
Yes.
For me, I thought the human touch is really important, and those people, for them to really deliver, they need someone who can support them. So somehow he was not really focus on this, but it came natural where just people come to me, they always discuss with me their I would say personal issues. If they have issues, they have problems,
they felt comfortable to come to you.
Exactly. And they also, I think they felt also he can do something.
Okay.
So if there's any issue with a person, a family issue, we have a lot of expatriate. So if he would have a problem back home, he needs to travel immediately, or if he has a medical issue with his wife being here, or a family back home that they need to support, he needs to travel quickly, or he needs support from the organization, I will get it for him.
Yes.
And I think that this humanity is really important for the leader.
Get inspired.
One of the questions that I get frequently asked is, Kev, how can I increase my motivation? We see great individuals, we see achievers, like many of the guests that I'm bringing on the show. They have the energy, they do so much, they're in a state of flow. How do they do it? Well, my team and I have released an article which I've made available on kevinabdulrahman.org/blog, the ultimate biohacking guide to increasing motivation. Or you can simply Google Kevin Increase Motivation and the article should pop up right at the top. It's absolutely free. Read it, and most important of all, take the bits and pieces that are relevant to you and apply it into your life to increase your motivation. I hope you find the article of value. If you do, feel free to leave your comments and also share it with your circle of friends. Again, you can Google it, Kevin Increase Motivation. It will be the first link that pops up, or on my website, kevinabdulrahman.org/blog.
Running such an organization, we have almost 40 nationalities. What I'm really proud of is most of the times when people come knock on my door, they are looking for support more than anything else. It's not like, nobody will come and say, okay, we need a production or something. They will come and knock the door. And this, I'm talking about across the company. From,
Yes.
All the levels. Mr. Saeed, okay, I have an issue here and there, and I don't know how to deal with it. Can you help me? You can't really believe how much I'm happy when I receive such a request, because I think this is the easiest thing that you can do.
The comfort and confidence to come to you.
Definitely, and this is also, I think, is really important for a CEO, or even a manager, or a team leader, let us say.
Yeah.
You need to really give people this comfort that they are actually looking up to you if they have any issues, to really come and looking for support. So they need to really feel comfortable to really talk. Sometimes I have people who employees who come to me and say, Mr. Saeed, I can speak to you freely, where honestly it's difficult for me to speak to my line manager. It's easier for me to speak to you more than my line manager. I don't know why, but it's
I was going to ask you, how do you create that comfort?
Just I think it's just lead by example. I'm close to people. I hope, I always try. It's just my nature. It's not something I pretend or something. People are very smart. They
can feel it.
They can feel it. It's not really
not.
something that you pretend or something. But I'm always there, on the good occasions and also on the bad occasions. So, for example, now each employee, if he lost anybody in his family, first thing is I would send him a message. If I meet him, if I can, I go and meet him on the site and give him this comfort and offer my support and all this. That's always happen. If there's any occasions to whether inside the company or outside, I try to be there. So if there's a wedding or there's a funeral or whatever, I try to be there.
There must be a lot though. 3,000 people. There must be a lot.
It's part of the job.
To you, it's important.
It's important, and that's why I do it.
Yeah.
There's always time. This is I really believe in this. There's always time for something you like.
Yes.
Something you love.
Yes.
You will create the time. The
Yes.
time is always there. But you will, a lot of people, they say, okay, there's no time for sport, for example. There's no time for me to exercise. If you really love it,
you make the time.
You make the time.
Yeah.
That's just normal, because you make time for others. I'm sure, in the 24 hours in the day, you do something. Yeah?
That's right.
So you must like it. Otherwise, you will not really, then there's no time for anything.
Yes. And if Bill Gates can do it, and Richard Branson can do it, and Sheikh Mohammed can do it, and Sheikh Zayed could do it, everyone can do it.
So you need to really find that's something that you like,
yes.
for you really to do it, and then you enjoy it, because you will, as you said, you will find the time for it. So for me, I find the time. If someone has an issue or a problem, I would sit with him. I don't feel it's wasting of time or something like this. And then people, as I said, they feel it. But now I've been there, as you said, since 2002 now. People also know me.
Yes.
They know if I can help in this, or if I like this comparing with anything else. For example, I don't like politics. They know that nobody will come and tell me, okay, Abdulrahman is doing something wrong here and there, and then I won't entertain it. That's not my style.
Because you've set the precedence that I'm not entertaining any office
so this
politics.
it's not my personality. I'm here only to help. So, and if someone who's a really lousy person, and then he comes and I discover, for example, he said, okay, I've been I'm having troubles with HR, but it turns out to be that he's a lousy person. He's not really attending and all that, and then I will not really entertain. Then he will not really come back. So also time is important for
yes.
the organization to really know you. And okay, you know people. I know a lot of people in the organization since I came from the operation. And I was in the company going in the ladder from production engineer all the way to the CEO. So
yes.
A lot of people, and I'm very proud also, most of those people are actually been there for a long time now.
Yes.
Since I started. Actually I'm having an issue now, and this year we are trying to really celebrate and awards people who are 20 years and above in the company. And the number is huge. So if I do 20, 15, and 10, that's the plan.
Yes.
I think the number...
It's a big portion.
It's a big number. I'm talking about, I think, 300, 400 people.
Wow.
And then, the team is saying, we cannot really, do this in 1 day or 2 days, shocking everybody and his hand and giving him a certificate. We need to work around this. But the point is,
what a great issue to have.
Yes, a lot of people are liking the company. They're there for a long time. I think the environment is good.
Yes.
And that
It must be good because, there is that saying that people will join a company maybe for the money, but they stay for the feel. And the reason people leave is usually because of people.
Exactly.
That's the reason they leave. They don't leave for a brand. They don't leave for more money. Because once our basic needs are met, we want to feel valued. We want to feel that we're making a difference.
Definitely.
We want to feel that we can work with the people that are with us.
Definitely.
So you must be doing something right.
Definitely. And then also you want to recreate this environment for the good people to stay.
Yes.
This is also important.
Yes.
It's not everybody, okay, I can just sit here and say, well, I'm very proud that there's no turnaround, in the company. There's nobody is leaving. This is not really very healthy because you need to recreate the environment for the good people to stay.
Yes.
And people who are not really getting along are also leaving.
How do you do that? Because that's important in terms of creating a company culture.
Yeah, for me.
Is it based on performance?
No, it's not something I would say it's not really a procedure that you will, you will write it down and then people will know it.
Yes.
More than the environment should be there. I challenge people. I'm there for people, but
yes.
also I challenge people. I challenge them a lot. And if you are not really part of the team, and if you're not really performing, you will see yourself somehow
as an outsider.
And then you will leave. And I've seen this for the past. I've been a CEO since 2011. I've seen this quite sometimes, even high level in the company.
Yes.
They just because they don't really fit.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily bad people or but they don't really fit for this environment.
Sure.
Because it's we are one team. That's my philosophy. We are one team, but we need to deliver also.
Yes.
You need to be also changing as a CEO. You can't really be very supportive, but also not demanding.
Sure.
Otherwise, then people will not really deliver at the end. So the environment there is they know, and alhamdulillah, I think this is the environment. They know, okay, Saeed is there for us. He's very supportive. He's a CEO where we can really reach up to him, but also he's demanding. And if you don't really deliver, then you'll be in a spot. You will be checked. And I'm very close. Since I'm very close to people, then I know stuff. I know what's happening. I know what's going on.
Your fingers on the pulse.
Yeah. So I don't really entertain. I delegate, so people are free to work. I try to really keep this environment for them to have freedom to work. But they know if there's an issue with the person that he can just come and knock the door and he can speak to me.
Mm.
And this is also very important. Then people will balance it,
Yes.
And then they know the agenda also. Your agenda, is very, very important. So your vision, your strategy, what you want to really achieve in the company.
Yes.
And what is your ultimate goal?
Yes.
Is really important.
And since you brought it up, may I ask you, how do you share that? How do you share that end goal? How do you share the vision? Because you go to a lot of companies, they have a vision and a mission.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really easy. I'll just ask 2 or 3 people from different segments, what's the vision of the company?
Okay.
They can't say it.
Okay.
And if they can't say it, they're definitely not living it.
Okay.
Some of them can say it, but you can see that they're not living it because you walk in and you can feel the vibe.
Okay.
So how do you transfer that vision? Because you've run and built an organization that is successful, mashallah, and I'm sure even greater things to come. How are you able to do that with 3,000 employees, 40 nationalities?
Okay. Well, communication is important.
Sure.
Communication is very important. So you communicate, but it's not really a matter of communication by saying what you want to do, more than doing what you are doing. What you want to do. It's actually the steps that you're taking. So they need to really feel that you are so passionate of what you want to do. You're you're there. You want to really achieve it.
Yes.
So for example, our goal is to have world-class steel manufacturer, and there are so many criteria to be there. Not only production. It's not all volume, more than all the stuff comes with it. They need to really see you as a leader, really taking the steps to really be there. So, for example, today I'm as you said, chairman of the Economic Committee of the World Steel Association. That's an international organization where
Yes.
I'm very proud that we are, as Emirates Steel, which is relatively not a small, but let us say a moderate company comparing with all the big companies that joining this organization. And we are in a few years leading such a committee, which is the most important committee in that organization. that's something the employee would really be proud of. Like, our company is actually one, even though it's not really a big company in terms of volume, but it's actually recognized internationally.
Yes, it's sizable, it's making an impact.
Yes, it's making, and it's actually, we're making decision. We are like, part of the whole world's steel industries, contributions, and like, we have our voice. So that's something you don't really write more than like, you do.
Yes.
So the employees, they know that, okay, we want to be international company. We want to be part of the international players. Another thing, we are selling our products to more than 40 countries around the world, and this is does not really happen very often here.
Yes.
So our products actually today is in all these countries.
Yes.
The employee know that.
Yes.
He knows that.
But how do you get them at the beginning when today, because I guess this is what you use to bring superstars to your team. But how do you get that vision where people feel that, hey, this is our vision, this is what we're all working towards?
So you communicate it, but as I said, they see you doing it. So like, they see you taking the measures, taking the steps that you like, for you to reach where you wanted to go.
The fact that you're leading by example.
Yes, exactly. And like, your team, as you said, the team is also very important.
Yes.
I cannot really communicate again, like, they need to really see the whole team is working around one goal. Your role as a CEO is to bring everybody under one, let us say, one journey. Like,
Yes.
everybody, we are going there, and then like, everybody has to really feel this. So if your team is with you and they're on the boat going to that direction.
Yes.
And then like, people see that. So it's also not only me, but also people need to really see the team is working around this goal. They need to really see them also very, the alignment, let us say, between me and them, and
Yes.
the passion about it is very, very important. And then, as I said, like, we lead by example. We have to really be there. We have to really do stuff that, like, it's not like, just big stuff. Oh, we want to be international company. We are good company. We are,
Yeah.
more than like
all the fluff.
Yeah, we are okay. We are a good company because of 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we have reached this much. Because our products are like, we have niche products where it's actually now internationally accepted.
Yes.
We are one of the companies in the whole world who's producing such a products. Out of four companies in the whole world, we are producing nuclear grades steel. So we have records.
Yes.
We have achieved records for them to really build on this and leverage that, that the company is actually going in the right direction.
Yes.
And then I think another important thing is people always link to growth, especially in the steel industry. People want always the growth is really important for the employee and for the company to really leverage, for them really to see this vision. And the company has been always growing, and inshallah yet also to come.
Yes.
We will grow further and further, inshallah.
Yeah. And so, as a CEO, when you took on the position, this was in 2011
As a CEO, yes.
as a CEO. It was a critical time
Very.
at that time. Can you take us through then, and like what were some measures you put in place? The reason I'm asking is if anyone's watching this or listening to this on the podcast and they're perhaps in a position of being a CEO and they want to raise their company to the next level, or they might be assigned to become a CEO, what would be some measures that you had taken in terms of an overall thing that they can consider for their thought process, for their decision-making process?
I think one of the things that I caught people by surprise is the commercial aspect of the business. Coming from the operations, a lot of people would think, and this is where a lot of inside CEOs fail, coming from one part of the organization where they would really focus on one part and then leave the other part. Steel manufacturer, it's actually we produce to sell, as
Yes.
simple as this. I mean, that's the nature of the business. So production is really important. I mean, operations, production, and all that. But also the commercial is 50% out of the business. And then this is something, perhaps because I was also afraid if I will not really do good, I focus on that. When I say that, most of what I say here is our customers, our supply chain.
And this was with you visiting Potential partners,
just like being again being close to all this, being close to the customers, being close to the business. I've changed a lot of things. At that time, we used to really sell here. My philosophy was I need to be international. I can't really depend on one market. I need to really go and just to have not to have this exposure. Something happens in one market, then we're in trouble. I was close to the customers. I had really good relationship with them. I established this relationship with them, with the suppliers also, not only for customers. But I think the commercial part, my influence, or let's say my inputs was seen somehow, even in the organization. I have done several things where even people notice that there is change. When I took over the plants, for example, we're not really in 100% production. The first day I came, of course, because of they were not really in operation because we could not really sell 100%. The first day I came, ever since the plants are in full operation, I said, okay, I don't want to see any plants stop. We need to produce, but before we produce, we need to really sell our products. So there should be no inventory to produce for our customers to really deliver our products. As simple as this. And then I was so so focusing on this day by day, and it's worked out.
And was that, from what it sounds like, it was a boldness to say,
definitely,
we're not going at 70%, we're going at 100%, and we need to make sure that the commercials and the sales are there.
Yeah, so 100%,
and that's what we're going to make it happen.
Yeah, so a lot of people also, they do 100%, but they have inventory, they produce and and then
to stack up.
And this is, I do not really. So the first thing I used to come, and even today, this is one of my habits. The first I come and look at the inventory of the company, because this is where you could really get yourself in trouble.
Yes.
If you cut there, then it's finished. So my point is no, my friend, we need to really sell. So you go and sell your products, we'll produce it for you, and then the plants has to be really stretched out. And alhamdulillah, I'm very proud. Some of our plants, we have international records for production, but also we have stretched the plants where they are 30% above nameplates, and some of the plants, and we were always sold out.
You're taking what was Emirates Steel at that point in just the UAE market to now over 40 countries, and the dominant steel producer in the GCC. Yes.
And alhamdulillah, today also we are looked up in terms of prices, and we are the prices leader in the region. So once we announce our prices, the whole region is actually following us.
Yes. Yeah. I have a lot of friends who are CEOs of companies, CEOs of 1, 10, 100, 1,000, and the ones between 1, 10, 100, they all ask me to ask you this question. Please ask Saeed, because it's very different to run a company of just 1 or to be a CEO of a company of 10. It's very different to run a company of 10 from 100, from 100 to 1,000, and then from 1,000 to 3,000. What would be some of your tips in terms of how to be effective as a leader? Because there are a lot of CEOs who want to grow, and just in the last 2 weeks, the conversations I've had from people who are pulling their hair with just having 10 employees.
Okay. Well, one advice, or the first advice, be yourself. And you have to really have it.
Yes.
As I said, humility is really, really important. So, you need to be close to people, and also people look at you as a friend, but also as a boss. So, if there's an issue, or to support them, you are there, but also you are very demanding in terms of work. And here, demanding, your agenda is really for work.
Yes.
It's only for the benefit of the business. It's not really you don't have any other agenda. People will follow you if you are like this. We have so many examples. My best example, Sheikh Zayed. Allah yarhamah. Sheikh Zayed is what is really strong about Sheikh Zayed? It's a humanity.
Yes.
He was close to people.
Yes.
He was a leader from the field, I would say.
Absolutely.
This is what we say it in the steel business. We you need to be in the field to lead people. And this is what Sheikh Zayed was all about. He was always close to people.
Yes.
You cannot really even with leaders today. Even we have Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. They are close to people. That's why they are leaders.
Yes.
You see a lot of countries, a lot of companies, there is a ruler, or there's like even a king or whatever, but he's not really.
They're not in touch with the people.
He's not really. He's not in charge. As
Yes.
simple as this, because he's not really close to people.
Yes.
You cannot be away from people and then you expect people to read. People needs to see you.
Yes.
At the end, you are a human being. At the end, also they want someone who can communicate with.
And does that mean that if you feel that it's not in your personality, A, can you develop it? Or two, do you step aside and hire a CEO who you feel can do a better job?
It's very tough to really say that, but I think you can always develop it if you have it.
Yes.
You have to have something like this. I mean, that's why the great leaders are standouts.
Yes.
That's why they're there, because they have it. Otherwise, everybody can be a leader. But you can develop in that by being close to people, being smart enough to really, if you would have it, then to really build on it and then continue to be close to people, and then I think it's just within time also it will get better and better.
You also have to want it, like you said earlier.
Yes, you have.
You got to want something.
So it's you have to have this desire.
Yes.
It's something people need to follow me because okay, I can be followed.
Yes.
I can be followed because I made something for them. I can do something for them to really follow me. Otherwise, why?
Yeah. What else would you suggest?
You have to be very transparent with people. So people expect the support from you, but also I expect from them when the bad times to really be beside me.
Yes.
And I think this is something, alhamdulillah, in Emirates Steel is happening, because it's not always a good time.
Yes.
It's not always I would say challenges are always there.
Yes.
Market is, especially the steel industry, is very volatile, and it's very challenging, especially those days. So you need to really bring people also to support you. So if there's a crisis in the market, or the company is actually coming across big challenge, who would really do something to the business? It's not only me as a CEO, it's the people.
You want the entire team to
the
be
whole
driving
company,
this
yes,
ship. Yeah?
So if there's cost initiatives, cost reduction initiatives, or something like this, then I really communicate to people and I see their engagement, because they know this is our company. They have this feeling, and they know that our management team is trying their level best to really let us say come across such a challenge.
Yes.
So for you need to really have people beside you to really come across. Otherwise, then you'll be just having less sleep at night alone.
Yes.
Otherwise you'll be just stressed alone as a CEO, and then nobody is there to support you.
It's difficult, especially when you're going through tough times, even in the good times. If you're having to drag 3,000 people compared to everyone's going, hey, if this is a rowing thing, we're all rowing. This is a rowing boat, and all of us are rowing
Exactly.
in that same direction.
And then people also, your track record has to really prove that, that you are doing something, or you have said something where yes, after sometimes it happens. I'll give you an example. 2012, this is 1 year being a CEO, I initiated a big cost reduction exercise. At that time, the business was very strong. I mean, especially 2012 and 13, the business was good. We had actually records and all, from a sales point of view, financially and all that. But I was so determined to reduce the cost. And then I embarked this program, and I was after everyone to really do it. Everyone. So I was cost, and people were somehow.
They didn't like you very much.
Yes, no, it's not that, more than okay, it's not needed.
We're doing okay.
Yeah, we're okay, maybe not to that much. Okay, we understand, but why you are so stressed to do that? 2015, there was a crisis, almost a crisis. I mean, business-wise, globally, and then we survived because of what we have done in the past 3 years. We have reduced our operation cost by 37%.
So you were operating lean in the good times.
In the good times for the bad times,
yes.
I would say. And then people knew that when the problem came, okay, now we see what has happened. Now we see why you were so determined to reduce the cost. Otherwise, we would be losing our jobs today. So the first thing I told them, remember what I said? Now, because of what you did to me, I'll keep your jobs.
Yes.
First thing I said to people, I will not really fire any person. As long as you're with me, to really come across this problems, we are together. So your job is secured, just do your level best. And you are here today because what we have done in the last three years, because we have all these initiatives, and you helped me to really reduce our cost. That's number one. Number two, I think that's the awareness has really increased after that, because now you go to any section head or manager in Emirates Steel, you ask him about his cost, he would know it all, and this is not really very common in many companies.
Yes. In many companies, I apologize for cutting you off, but in many companies that you go and you ask a few questions, even from the CEO of a company, and he doesn't know what the numbers are on the bottom line.
Definitely, and I see this, by the way, I see this a lot. But today, if you go to a steel manufacturer or steel plant manager or direct reduction plant manager, you ask him what was your cost last month, he will tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. I did good in this, my cost was bad in this, I could have really done something better here and there. So they know it all, and they sit every month we sit together in a high level meeting, just for them to really say, okay, I did good in this, and this is where I need to really improve, and next time we will do this and that.
That's fantastic. So they're aware and accountable.
Yes. So the awareness is really high, and this is something you cannot really, as a CEO, you need to really have comfortable. You have to be comfortable with.
Yes.
I'm going home knowing that my managers are at least they knowing their cost.
Yes.
So I'm doing my parts. As an organization, the market is something I can't really control, but my cost that's where I can control. So if I know all my staff is really cost cautious, I would say, then the business at least is not really in the risk of being fat in terms of cost and all that.
That's fantastic. What you said is being lean, for the tough times. Yeah. Whereas in most companies you see them why they're challenged or they go out of business or they lose the dominance is because they're just being fat cats, and then they start thinking about going lean when the pressure hits.
Yeah, that's too late. Then the first thing, and this is what happens unfortunately. And I see this even in the steel industry. The first thing will happen, just fire people.
Jobs.
Yeah, jobs. And I think by the time you do this, I think it's a bit late. I mean, I'm talking about the steel industry. I'm not really talking generally, because each business has its own environment and all things. But because even the steel industry is at least our manpower cost is now 15% plus minus. Mm-hmm. So even if you do major cut and one
15%.
day, it's not going to really do a lot of help. Okay, but you need to be lean anyways for you to really then survive. From the day one. So even our employees today, this number is, we benchmark this number with others. We are alhamdulillah very very lean in terms even the number of people.
Yes.
Per ton of steel, we are doing 1,400. Kilo, 1,400 kilos per employee, which is really good number, benchmarking others also. So that's something very important. Agility, especially in those days where the challenges are very long lasting.
Yes. Comparing
with before, usually it's only a quarter, half a year maximum where you would have a challenge in the market. But today, with all economically, what's going on economically in the whole world,
every quarter is a challenging quarter.
Then the problems are not going to really last for one month or 2 months. We've seen the issues are long-lasting issues. So for that, the company has to be very agile, and the volatility is also very high, and in the steel business where you have to really adapt very quickly. Mm-hmm. For you to really not to really cut in somewhere and then you lose the business. And I think this is very very important to really even have people have this thinking and this mindset of being agile, quick response to the issues.
To be on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and to be in on spot when it's so I take the right decision, the right approach, and the right time. If I'm late for even 1 week or 2 weeks, then it's gone. And we see this a lot in the deals because the prices are volatile. So if you don't really do the right deal in the right time, that's
boom.
It.
Yeah. You refer to the combo pack, something that you've built over the last 20 years. Could you share that with the audience and perhaps a takeaway that they can take away? Perhaps they can build their own combo packs.
Okay, well, just I'm very passionate about my job, and then I think I don't claim that I know everything about steel and all this, but I think I know enough for people to really come and ask me. Even when anything about steel comes around, people will just refer it to my name. So even from the government officials, friends, family or something.
As soon as they hear steel?
Yeah, so if he has any general question, steel, or he's somewhere, he's seen something or something, he didn't pick up the phone and call me, Saeed, okay, what's happening here? Why is this used here? Why is that? Okay, what's the prices? I want to really build my house, where to go and all this. So
and so why did that association come about, or how?
I don't know, because, well, I mean, the company is one thing, but also because I think I'm so passionate about it, so I know, and then when I go, I talk about it. Alhamdulillah, I talk good stuff about it, and then I promote steel. Also, one of my job to really promote steel. I really believe steel is something is really remarkable.
Yes.
Steel is everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere around you. Looking at you, I can see steel.
He needs steel.
And people do not really somehow sometimes do not really notice that, but it's everywhere around us. Steel goes into so many products.
We don't, to be honest with you. And now I remember a conversation we had a few years ago where you told me steel goes into so many products.
Yes.
It's not something I think about, but I guess you think about it.
A lot of people, they think it's only construction.
Yes.
Yeah, and okay, well, we're talking about 75% goes to construction, but steel goes everywhere. Even in human being, fasteners, some equipments, even some around you, okay, buildings is one thing, but okay, your mobile, your I would say this table, so many products are small products. Steel is somehow potentially part of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Not necessarily to be the main component, but somehow it's part of it. And people do not really see this. They don't really admire this, and that gives me sometimes. I get upset about this.
How can you not be passionate about steel?
So and it's been there for since the ancient time.
Yes.
Steel is one of the things. I mean, it's been there forever, and it's going to be there. So there'll be no replacement 100% for steel. And I think this is something because I'm so passionate. So passionate about it. People will refer to me and then ask me about it.
Yes.
And this is something I'm also very happy to.
That's fantastic. And I think perhaps because of that passion, but beyond passion, you have that knowledge, you have that depth, perhaps as a result of the passion.
Definitely. Yes. So when you like something, as I said, when you like something, you will go and dig and learn more about it, know more about it. Just as a hobby that you like, and then you find the time for it, just like that. If you like a subject or something, then you will go and deep into it. And
sure.
Read and all. And this is what I do.
We talk about it in different circles about being an expert in what you do, so that you become the name that's associated in that field. So you're the man of steel.
No, not worldwide, but at least within the family, within the
within the GCC family.
Within within UAE, within people who know. Who are related to the steel business, for example.
Yes.
A lot of people who are investors, for example, contractors and all this. Normal people, as I said, my friends, so I receive a lot of phones from a friend of friend. Your friend wants to really build his house, then he knows that you know me, then he okay.
Tell me about steel.
Okay, so can you hook me up with Saeed? I want to do something here and there. So this is very, very common.
What's your recommendation, and do you recommend this for entrepreneurs, individuals, experts? How can they build this brand association so that when people think of, for example, chairs, they think of that expert, or when they're thinking of real estate, they think of that expert, or when they're thinking of in any field, what recommendation would you give someone who's aspiring to have that name association? Because that's powerful.
Sure. Well, first of all, let us talk about what can be done. I think this is also very important. I want to really somehow market this also. I think because of steel can go to so many downstream products. I think there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs to really to leverage on this and then build up their all small and medium business modules, because I think there's potential for that. For people to really cater on Emirates Steels, the big companies, for them to really take the material as a raw material and then they do downstream.
Have their own niches.
Yes, and downstream. And this is why we're actually one of the reasons Emirates Steel actually was built. The government has invested in such company to really then support the downstream later on. So we are bulk producer, and then we can really support the downstream and small businesses as a company. So there's a potential there, and I'm encouraging everyone to really go and look for business, small businesses where they can really leverage on this, and we can really be very supportive.
I was going to say, I was going to ask you at some point what opportunities you see in the market. Here's one opportunity in the market.
Yeah, so there's it's not really a commercial interview, but there are a lot of potential. So I will not really talk technically, but there are
look into the steel business.
Yes, so into the steel business there are a lot of opportunities. I think where it's not only, so people should not really think of construction only, but there are a lot of potential downstream
in
business
many niche markets.
Yeah, they can really cater on this and then do their business. And again, they need to really believe on it. So you're asking me how their names has to be
just in any industry, if someone wants to establish themselves as an expert. So say, for example, I'm a public speaking coach to CEOs, and that's been something that I built so that today, in certain circles, they call me.
Again, you have to really like what you want to do. It's it's not something I will tell you go and learn more than it's something that you really believe on.
Yes.
And we have so many examples.
Yes.
Bill Gates, or so there's so many people who really loved what they wanted to do, and they really believed on it, and then
they just went all in.
And then because it's all around this, because you like it, you love it, you will know it all in and out.
Yes.
You will know it. You will it come natural. You will dig and dig and dig, and then for you to really know what's happening, for you to really build on it.
Yes.
It comes naturally.
Get inspired.
Imagine if you could present yourself, your thoughts, and your ideas with clarity and confidence. Imagine if you could speak to influence and impact. Imagine if you could communicate like a commanding and charismatic leader. Well, you can, given the right information and the investment of effort from your end. How do I know that? As a public speaking coach, I work with CEOs, world leaders, and presidents. And when they hire me, they expect nothing short of results. And over the years, it's been 2 decades now, 2 challenges have risen for me being unable to help the majority of people. I'm usually on a plane, with the majority of my time being booked a good year or 2 in advance. And my one-on-one session to work with someone in person generally starts at $20,000. So we solved the problem by making my public speaking course available for you online. Everything that I teach my clients when I'm working one-on-one, thoughts, tips, strategies, how to do things, all on video, all sequenced in the right order for you to be able to watch, rewatch, practice, and refine your presentation, your speaking, and your overall communication skills. And guess what? You will get results. Now, you can have this course not for the $20,000 that my clients pay me when we work one-on-one. You can have it for $997. That's right, just $997. You might be thinking, well, why are you offering something that you charge $20,000 for $997? It's simple, because those who want to work with me one-on-one will still hire me. But for many whom I might be out of their budget, this is a great way to develop their communication skills, to cut through the noise, to rise above the rest, and to beat their competition. If you're serious about wanting to develop your skills, to be able to present your thoughts, your ideas, and yourself with clarity and confidence, to be able to speak, to influence and impact, and to communicate like a confident and charismatic leader, then this course is for you. Go on to kevinabdurrahman.org/course and get started today. When you know Saeed Al Remeithi, he's young production engineer, and even though you were not hired or you were not after the promotions in each throughout your whole career so far, you've been asked to rise up to the next level. Mm-hmm. But there would have been something that's driving you, like many young professionals. Mm-hmm. They join a company and there's the desire to perhaps one day become CEO or to make a mark and to make a difference, and that's the driver for them. That's what drives them. What drives you today as a successful CEO, as someone who's really left a mark? What drives today's Saeed?
I just want to be do better than what I've done before. It's always something I want to I want to really evolve, develop, and do things in a better way. That's always my drive. That's always something I want to do the things in the best way I can. At least I can. And don't get me wrong when I said I was a little bit scared being a CEO. That doesn't mean I did not want to be a CEO.
Sure.
But at that time I thought it was a little bit early for me. I was 36 years old at that time. I thought it was a little bit it will be very challenging for me. That's my personal thinking. But I always wanted to be a CEO. That's why I was always doing the hard work. I really had this feeling that one day I'll become a CEO of this company.
Yes.
But
so you worked, and your effort and your mentality was like that.
Yes, well, but it's not something I wanted because I'm Saeed or because I just wanted to really earn it. That's why I was a little bit scared when they assigned me, because I wanted to really earn it, more than just because I'm the only person there or because of X or Y, I've been put there. But I just wanted to really reach there when I was ready. But also I'm everybody thinks this is the right person for the right job. So I'm very, I would say, thankful
for someone taking a chance and betting on you.
And this is what I try to do also with my young UAE nationals.
Yes.
I try to really bring them up to the speed. I give them the chance to really deliver. And this is how it is. You have to be there. Otherwise, you have to have someone who really is looking. Otherwise, then you'll be somewhere in the corner and not being looked at.
And can I ask you, how do you choose? Say, for example, you have 100 UAE nationals and you want to develop them. How do you pick the candidates where you go, hey, this guy or this girl?
Okay.
And what's your criteria for picking?
My criteria, number one, influence.
Okay.
I like strong personalities.
Yes. So the influence they can have on others.
Yeah, so the influence, of course, the good influence, but as a leader, you have to have this influence. You have to have the influence to really have people follow you.
Yes.
And we have a lot of people are very smart, education-wise. They're
book smart.
Yeah, they're very smart. But I met them. A lot of those people are somehow they're very smart academically, but influencing people is an issue. So for me, when I pick someone, as a leader, as a manager, or something,
yes,
he must have this influence.
And does that come from confidence, or do you feel is it a lack of confidence, or is just an inability, or they haven't developed the skill?
It's a combination of so many things. First of all, he has to have this self-confidence.
Yes,
for sure. No, self-confidence comes from knowing the job, actually knowing the stuff. So he needs to really know that. So he has, and even if he does not, he will. So we can really see that he will really develop himself. But also it has to come also from the personality.
Yes.
So the influencer people, you see it all, even within the family. You will see even with my kids now, I can see one is influencing the other, even if he's not even the oldest, by the way.
Yeah.
So this is something really important for him, because such a personality will put the alignment right, so that they will facilitate what you want. Mm-hmm. So if I have influencer in the organization where I tell them what I wanted to do, they will go and do it for me. They will do it with their staff.
Yes.
So this alignment will be very easy.
Yes.
But let us say the person here is not really influencer. So he likes me. We get along. He knows that what I want to do. He knows the vision. He knows this is something the company is going for. But then he's not really, he can't really, influence people to really come come along in the boat, as I said. Like, you know, then it's not going to work. This is my
Sure.
criteria. Yeah.
What else? This is great.
Yeah. So, and again, he needs to really like, you know the stuff. Honesty is very important for me. So someone I can really trust, and I really deal with people with the trust, fully trust, unless otherwise, like, you know, they prove me wrong.
Yes.
And this is, I think, very important.
And you mentioned transparency earlier, so it's having the trust both ways.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know, you learn from this, by the way. And it's not really always good, because I've been in situations where, like, you know, I gave over trust to people, and this is part of your learning curve. It cost me issues. It cost even the companies some problems, but I'm not really regretting it more than, like, you know, I learned from it.
Yes.
And as I said, those people, a lot of those people, somehow you see them just withdraw from the company, and then they leave simply.
Because of your speed, because of your vision, because of the culture you create.
Exactly.
They automatically feel that, hey, I'm not a piece of this puzzle.
Exactly. So they can't really fit. It's not only hard working. It's not only that. It's actually the whole thinking, the whole, you know, some people, it's just human beings. Some people, their agendas is not really 100% could be where you are going.
Yes.
They have, like, you know, their own agendas and all. And those people, the agenda is not really good. Simply, I see them. I don't know, and it's just sometimes I'm surprised. You know, it's like, you know, I know someone who's not really fit. Just 2-3 months down the road, somehow he wants to leave.
Fair enough. And you're happy for them to leave.
Happy, okay, he will find another job for sure. Like, you know, I'm not really happy as, like, you know, get rid of him more than, like, you know, it just came from him. It's I do not even do anything. I don't really, like, you know, bring him to my office and say, okay, you are fired.
Yes.
And, that's.
Get inspired.
You know this by now, that we are the #1 YouTube show / podcast that's coming out of the Middle East from Dubai. If you like the idea of having your brand reach at least 1 million eyeballs per episode, then feel free to reach out to my office on kevinabdulrahman.org. Without further delay, let's continue this great conversation. A challenge we face, especially with society today, is a lot of young kids coming in with expectation and overconfidence. What do you have to say to that?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's difficult. Now this generation is tough.
I mean, God bless them. They come, you know, I'm God's gift. Well, there's 7 billion people. We're all God's gift. And this overconfidence. So it's you're saying about having influence, which is having confidence, but you need to know your stuff.
Definitely.
I'm seeing people with such overconfidence. I'm like, you don't even have basic knowledge.
Yeah, experience is really important. You know, in the industry, for example, our industry, it's also, you know, steel is a very tough industry. You know, it's also it's dangerous. I mean, it's like, you know, health and safety is really key.
Okay.
You know, you are dealing with molting steel, and then, like, there's issues. Then, like, you know, a lot of casualties, a lot of issues could really happen. So for that also, you need someone who is really mature enough even to deal with the situation. Steel, for example, I have a UAE national who is a steel plants manager today. He's around 38, 39 years old. The guy was in the company for almost now 17 years before he came. Even though he's young, but he has this potential, he has this influence.
Yes.
But also he needed the experience.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I did this with someone else who was not really ready, and then we had some issues.
Sure.
So I guess the point is, like, you know, time is really important.
Yes.
You know, again, I come back to my situation when I was a little bit scared being a CEO. Because deep inside, I felt maybe this is a little bit too early for me. You know, things could get wrong. I could really take, like, you know, bad decisions where like, you know, could really not affect the business, but affect people's life. So I think this is important, like, you know, to really, even before those young followers comes to the market, we need to teach them this. You need to be a little bit patient.
Yes.
Now, demanding and being ambitious is really important, and no one would stop you from being ambitious to really, like, you know, reach where you want to go. But you need to really take it, I would say, not slow, but you take it to the right steps.
It's like when our mom cook for us. It needs time for the food to simmer.
Yeah, it's just like, anything in life.
Yeah.
As I said, patient. That's what I learned. Like,
Yeah.
you need to be patient.
Or another friend was saying, a baby takes 9 months. You cannot rush the process.
Yes.
Like,
but at the same time, we need to really support them. We need to really guide them.
Yes.
I cannot really expect from him to be patient where he's left alone also.
Yes.
Because there's a mix here, and we need to be very careful. A lot of young, especially those this generation, as you said, they are very, they want to really accomplish things very very quickly. You cannot really have him in the organization sitting alone and then not taking care of him.
Sure.
He needs to really be seen. He needs to be in a position where he's felt. He's somewhere there. We are looking at
you're engaging them.
Yeah, you are part of the team. You are part of the organization. Just do your job, and then there's a career ladder for you
Yes.
to really reach there. And honestly, this is not really a talk. It's not easy to do, by the way.
No, it's not easy.
It's not easy
because
do.
I was going to ask you, how do you balance as an individual, as a CEO, and even when you're passing on to these kids where the junior members who need to build the experience, the balance between patience and agility, which is something you need in your business.
You cannot, just being very honest, you can't really master it all 100%.
No.
We always learn with the process. We always learn, we are, as Emirates Steel today, we are not really dealing with UAE nationals as we dealt with them 5 years back. We are also maturing. We are also learning how we really deal with this. So, as I said, today we have managers. I'm talking about UAE nationals, especially because those are the experiences, not the expatriate. We bring them as experienced people, so we don't really have big issue
to build their experience.
Yeah, so the experience is already there. So the UAE nationals, actually, the company is actually built to hire the UAE nationals at
Yes.
the end, to transfer the know-how also. That's why I bring them into the picture. But I guess the point here is we need to really engage them, and then we are learning how to really deal with them to
Yes.
really learn. I had a really fantastic presentation, 2 weeks back from 3 UAE nationals who joined us recently. Very smart, very energetic. They are very passionate. They want to really accomplish something. They were there for 2 months in the training program.
So they're new.
Yeah, they were new to the organization, and then they present to me this presentation, what they have learned so far and what they want to do. I was amazed.
Awesome.
So it's 2 months. Honestly, I think what they have really brought to me, for me personally, it took me at least 1 year to really to learn. Honestly,
That's fantastic.
because they are they are smart, and they're even their ability now is much better than even my ability or the previous generation.
And it's really nice that you're recognizing it, because the due needs to be paid when they are like that. Like if someone does impress you,
Definitely,
to
yes.
be recognized is
And
so
they,
important.
they want to really show it. So they worked, they had this presentation, they interviewed people, they were talking, they have, it's it's like a small video, 10 minutes, but they have interviews, they were talking in the videos, they were very confident, they said what they have learned and what is the next step and what they are passionate about.
Awesome.
And it was really amazing for me. It was really amazing. And this is an example. Of course, we cannot really have everybody the same.
Sure.
But if you reach to a point where you are involving the people and having this career ladder for them to really reach somewhere, I think this is very important for this generation.
It's important because it's not only important for bringing the talent, but it's also keeping good talent, because good or great talent doesn't want to stay in a place where they're not engaged.
Definitely,
That's
yes.
how you lose them.
Definitely, and they want they want to grow.
Yes.
And they want to grow, and you need to really show them this. Honestly, it was an issue for us to really show this, to master it. It's not really something, and I think we're not really mastering it yet. But as I said,
You're a lot more refined.
Yes, we need to really refine this and always build on it, and try the level best. But overall, as a numbers, as I said, we have UAE nationals. Alhamdulillah, today we have almost 500 UAE nationals, and I think this is a really great number. It's 20.
That's a great percentage.
Yeah, 22, 3%. Out of the whole business is really something remarkable, and we just hope that they will accomplish what they want, but also the company actually gets the best out of them.
Sure.
To the business.
Absolutely. Since we're sitting in a meeting room, How do you run your meetings? As advice for CEOs who want to run effective meetings. Okay. Because someone with your time limitation.
Can I be so honest?
Please be as honest as you like. You don't do meetings.
I hope this will not be seen by my staff, by the way. The first thing I come, I turn off the air condition.
Okay.
No, I try to just. It's a joke. I try to really run very efficient,
yes.
quick, to the point, and actually we have a lot of meetings in the company, and this is something felt. So I'm trying to reduce the number, not my meetings, but others' meetings. But at least my meeting, I try to really be very efficient, very straightforward. I tell people when people are speaking, I tell them, please bring the issue and the solution. Mm-hmm. And if you don't really have the solution and you need your support, be very clear. So when you come to the meeting, prepare yourself for what is I want to really deliver and what I can do about it. If I can't do anything about it, what I expect from people to do for me. Mm-hmm. Then it's easier to really manage. So I teach people all the time. Even people are off the grid, I bring them back. So,
yes.
Okay, what we are trying to do here, what are you trying to really, what is the message that you want to do? What is your issue? Is there something that we can do for you? That's in terms of if there's any issue. If someone wants to really deliver something, then they know, it's few slides, straight to the point. What is it there for the business? And what is your involvement there? And then we conclude. So we try to really be very efficient in the meeting.
That's great.
Yeah, so I was going to say, because a lot of the time, these corporates, they have meetings about meetings.
Yeah. That's a legacy. I think it's I'm not saying Emirates Steel we are in the best position. I'm sure we would have something like this. But again, if you as the leader of the company trying to be efficient, I think you will be influencing.
Passes down.
That will pass down. And then if there is really good KPIs and clear objectives, then people they will go and do. They will not really lose. People talk and lose time because they don't have anything to do.
Sure.
If they are engaged, if they are busy, then there will be less of time wasting.
You are on time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I've noticed that you're usually on time. Mm-hmm. In the Western world, it's a normal thing to be on time or just before time. And yet, our culture in the Middle East, rarely are people on time. How do you deal with this issue? If you're running a meeting and someone comes late, how do you handle it?
Okay, punctuality is really important, by the way. If you want to upset me, don't be on time. So I'm always on time. I try to, sometimes okay, but most of the time I'm on time. If people come late, I don't really deal with it as on spot. But somehow, if he's not really involved, I involve him to the somehow to really. I will not really say embarrass more than just to put him in the hot spot a little bit.
So you highlight it.
Yeah. So I highlighted So we come if he's half through the meeting, then I will be asking something about the meeting, about the subject of the meeting, that what happened in the beginning. Then he he panics and then because he lost it. Then next time he'll be there. Sometimes you have to be a little bit straightforward. Someone who's does not really care, then you tell him. And usually I speak to people not in front of people, individually. So if I have an issue with any person, then I call him into my office and then I have this conversation with him. And usually it's a very I would say smooth, not really harsh approach, more than friendly talk. Okay, I don't like this. This is not because of me, more than it's affect the business and all this. Especially when there's outsider. For example, if we have a meeting from a company coming from outside, me as a CEO sitting, and then one of the managers comes late, does not really show a good image in front of the other company. So that's something I would speak to him about. Then next time he will not really do it.
And it really makes a difference because you lead it by example.
Yes.
I've seen far too many individuals in senior positions who talk about being on time, but they're late. It's like parents smoking cigarette, telling their kid don't smoke.
Exactly, yes. And if you are late all the time, then people will do it. Because they know, eventually, if you are 20 minutes late, then okay, the boss is not really showing up in 20 minutes, so he will be late anyways. So why do I come 20 minutes and then wait then he will come 20 minutes later anyways. And then unless you are punctual and then you are on time, then then you enter the meeting and then people come after you, then okay, this is not really nice. Then next time they will come but I don't really have a big issue there. As you said, maybe because I lead by example, maybe that's the
You're setting the tone. It's you're setting the pace. They understand the expectation.
Yes.
Since you brought up steel and the reality that we don't really pay attention to, I know you do, but the majority of us, we don't look at iconic structures or beyond even the iconic structures. We don't look at our day-to-day lives and go, oh, there's steel in there. But there is so much that's part of our lives that has steel, like the mobile phone, like you said. If I was to use that analogy and bring it back to the human, what would you say is the trait or skill that is just about in every single person's lives, in every single aspect, that's important that they need to be aware of?
I would say curiosity. Because if you are curious, you will you will ask yourself questions.
Yes.
Around okay.
Something we do as kids, right?
Yeah. Just okay. That's how we learn. By the way, I mean most of our learning is because we ask question. Why is this happening? Why is this is happening like this? Why this is actually made of this? As you said, iconic building, Burj Khalifa, or any iconic building we see today. Evil, for example, this is made by steel.
Yes.
Why it's not really other material? Because this steel has all this agility, has all this characteristics. I mean, the things that really can make this happen. So it has the strength, but also the agility, which is really important within the fundamental of steel, where we can really do all this shapes. At least this is from the building point of view.
Yes.
But imagine for all other aspects,
I didn't think that we had steel in the phones.
Yes,
I didn't think about it.
Some components here and there, everywhere. Okay, a machine, a medical machine, X-ray machine, for example. For sure there is part of it there will be some steel there. And you name it, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of things that steel
that have steel in it.
Definitely.
And if we were to relate curiosity to this, and as kids we're all curious, why do we stop? What do you think?
I think we take it for granted. We think we are okay. We know it all by now. And perhaps also the kids, they want to learn because they don't know.
Yes.
For us, we think we know a lot of things now, so maybe we should not really ask ourselves a question.
And yet that attitude has been the downfall of many individuals and many companies, and because they thought they know everything. Yeah. I mean, take Kodak as an example, or Nokia, definitely, or any big brand.
Definitely. But see, for me, because my background is this, so I ask my questions about the steel. So okay. What is Burj Khalifa is made of? Why this building, or why this machine is? What type of steel could really go in this machine? This is why I ask myself. Just because I'm from the business, but I guess if people just simply, maybe you should not really go into so many details. But if you ask yourself, buildings, especially here in UAE, mashallah, we have all this nice building.
Absolutely.
If you or even the bridges and all this nice iconic structure, I would say, just ask yourself, how could this happen? Why this shape is like this? It's just because the steel can't really do it.
Yes.
And that's why we don't really see other components or other products can substitute it 100%. Of course, they are, but no, we believe in the steel and as steel manufacturers, the steel will be always there. They can't really 100%. Substitute it with other material. That will never happen.
What are 3 qualities you look for in individuals where you say, hey, this person is not just a manager, this person is a leader? Or before I ask this question, what would be in your mind the difference between a manager and a leader?
Okay, good question.
Thank you.
Very good question. And this is what I need to tell my young leaders also. We have a program, by the way, in the company called Future Leaders.
Okay.
And I think the difference is the leader is going to really transfer his vision to his people.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not only I can manage people.
Yes.
You know, I like 5-6 people, then do this, do that. But I think the leader would really transfer what he wants to really, what he sees in the future, for those people to really do it for him, and he lead them through it. So he has to have this vision, of course, and he has to, as I said, he must have this influence to really make sure those his employees or his team is are actually going to really follow for him to really reach what he wants.
To actually feel and believe the
so
message.
he has to have this vision. He
Yes.
has to, whether his of course it has to really tally with the organization. I hope, but he has to have this, let us say, desire.
Yes.
For him to really accomplish something, and they need to really see it as a leader. So that's, I think that's really important. Plus, he has to be honest. He has to be again, there's no agenda. People actually liked him for his personality. Humanity is also very important. You can't really have. That's why they call him manager. A lot of people, they say my manager, not my leader, because he's a manager. He gets things done, and then I go home. I don't even he does not really come across my mind by all means. So if I have a problem, I have issue, I
Yes.
have whatever. Good, bad things in my life, he's a part of it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be very emotional with your people, because also this is too dangerous. You cannot really be too close to a point where then you cannot really stop bad things also could
Sure.
happen. But you have to really be close enough for them to be there as a leader.
Because one of the challenges many face, I guess managers face, because leaders have been able to do it, is when you're there, and if you're a personality where, okay, let's say for example, you're in the building, everyone knows the boss is in the building, everyone's doing their work. But what makes a great leader is when they step out of the building. When the cat is away, in most cases the mouse start to play. But you want to be able to be that kind of leader where when you step away, everyone's still moving forward.
Sure,
what would be your thoughts?
Because they don't do it for you as a person. They do
Yes.
it for what you want them to do. It's like you need to really link them to the bigger goal. It's not because I'm here or you are here as a Kevin. I work because you are the boss. You are around, so I do my job. No, I do my job because I want the company to deliver. I want the company to grow. I want to develop myself. There's a bigger goal than just
Yes.
being around, and this is what you need to really link everybody. That's your role, is to link everybody around this goal. We are all going to Dubai or to Abu Dhabi. So
Yes.
while we are going, there are a lot of things are going around us.
Yes.
But we are focusing. We need to reach there.
Yes.
And this is where you need to link people for them. Otherwise, then they will be distracted by so many cars going around them during the trip. So again, it's not really, they don't really do it for you. Yes, they like you as a leader. Maybe that's something also they can leverage, and they say, okay, our boss is somebody we admire. Let us do this for him. That's fine. But there's also a bigger target from them as a personal or as an organization. Otherwise, yes, as you said, while I'm here, then the work is done. While I'm away, then nothing happens.
Yes.
I can tell you, I travel a lot.
You do travel a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you. But things still get done.
Alhamdulillah. So I think this is, I think that's a really good thing. Otherwise, but that's also was not really easy to really accomplish. And I used to really.
Did you have to build this? Was
Yes.
the culture there when you arrived, or did you build this culture?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I used. I'm telling you now, 6-7 years back when I traveled, and I'm so engaged, emails, phone calls, and all. This is not the case anymore. Absolutely not the case anymore, because also, as I said, you learn, but also the organization learns. And also learn how you deal with them. They learn how you want things to really happen. So yes, I was engaged at that time, and I was on phone calls and all this, because I want to make sure things are in the right perspective. But within that, I build up. This is not something I will continue. This is not something sustainable. This is not something should really continue. I expect. So within me being engaged, somehow I send those messages. That's not really right, I can't.
This is only happening now.
Yeah, because I just eventually, will change. I want you to change. I want the organization to change. And now it's absolutely.
I mean, just in this short conversation here, if I was to summarize it, I've even understood your message that as a CEO of Emirates Steel, it's not about you. It's about, because I've already heard it a few times and we've only had an hour together, where I'm very clear that you're putting out, both in what you say and the energy and the vibe and your attitude and your thought process, there's a bigger vision. There's that goal.
Yes.
Our drive to Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
It's not about me. It's about this is the thing, and everyone
Definitely.
has the buy-in for that destination.
Definitely. And people needs to see this.
Yeah.
People really need to be engaged on this. Otherwise, it's again, as you said, it's like, then it's one person, one show, one man show, and then once this man is not there, it's not really going to happen. And this is very, very important for you to really, again, it's not something you write, it's something you really do. You need to make sure people actually, they're reading this anew for them to really follow.
Since you mentioned that, because a lot of people, ambitious people, people who are driven, they learn, they do bits and pieces, they read a lot of books. So they'll read books on leadership and they read books on management. How is what we read in books and what we listen to and what we watch on YouTube and so many things that are out there different from real life experience?
Okay, it's not really more different. Let us put it in this way. I think this will also just enhance your skills. So
Yes.
if you have these skills, if there's a leader who, I see in my organization and I see this potential on him, then if he reads, that will help him, because
Sure.
that's the will fulfill all, let us say, the small gaps. But he has to have this talent, that he has this character on him. But reading is going only to really enhance it. So for me, when I read, I think it's this is something I think I do, but I need to do more a little bit. More like maybe this is something, yes, maybe something I should not really do very often. But I can feel whatever is being said, I'm doing myself.
Yes.
It's not something I'm learning from day one. And when I see this, I really admire that, because I feel at least I'm on the right track.
Yes.
It's like when you read something and you feel like you are part of this, then you feel this comfort that okay, you are on the right track.
Yes.
More than if if I read, oh my God,
I'm going in the opposite direction.
I know. Then it's it's an issue. But again, so it's it's not really different more than books. Someone have his experience and he put it in in writing. Sometimes it applies here, does not really apply in this environment. It works with one person, does not really work with the other person. So you need to really take the best out of it and apply it in your environment,
Yes.
in your culture, in your business. Every company, every
It's
country,
different.
it has its own environment. It has its own flavor, I would
Yes.
say. So you need to really do a little bit here and there. Some organizations, they just because of the culture is there, or because of the number of people, does not really need much of focus in one aspect.
Yes.
They need only guidance or something, or just roll by example. But some organization, they need being a little bit tough, shrewd. I would say not tough, but more shrewd in the business for you to really deliver. And there are big KPIs, and then follow up and all that. So it depends on the business also.
Earlier you mentioned that you're going to have a 20-year celebration soon, and that one of the challenges you're facing for the employees who've been with you for 10, 15 and 20 years is there's going to be 400 or 500 of them in it. And you're also a people's person. And you mentioned that you like to have one-on-one conversations, and you go and you meet with your people, and even though you have 3,000 employees, that seems like a really hard task. I say all this for the concept of appreciation. There are some cultures, both within families, within friends, and then also in the working environment, where they say that if I show too much appreciation, it's going to backfire. Mm-hmm. So even though they can see and they can go, wow, I really appreciate their work, they fail to actually go to that person or make it known to them that, hey, we appreciate you, we value you. They feel that if they say that, it's too much. Mm-hmm. What's your thought on it?
Well, I'm glad you brought this. This is, I felt, by the way, you need to really, you need also to really draw the line.
Okay.
Sometimes, okay, well, I go with people, I laugh with them. It's just my character.
Yes.
So I get, as I said, even at school, somehow I get along with people. Some people, they don't really, I would say, put the right line.
Okay.
So they don't really appreciate.
They don't know where to draw the line.
Yeah, they don't know how to really, yes. Sometimes they step in. There is an overstep, I would say.
Yes.
and this is you need to deal with somehow. And it's not necessarily to be very nasty about it, or like very mean. But somehow I deal with this in a very smart way. So like I can ignore a little bit, like for the first time, for the second time, then like I hint, third time, then like there'll be embarrassment. But you need those things you need to really deal with, because people are not really the same. Some people, they like when you laugh with them, then like and I felt this a lot. Okay, we like there's an occasion, or like there's a function with the company. I go, I laugh, I speak, like we joke. Then next day we have a meeting. The guy is coming very relaxed, and like he's not really prepared. Then no, so he will get it from me.
Sure.
So like work is different.
That's right. We were laughing at the function, but work is work.
And this is, by the way, this is something I think. Alhamdulillah, I think this is something really helped me running the company. People by now, they know that. So they know I'm very, I hope, like, I don't like to speak about myself in this way, but maybe humble and like, very close to them. But also, like, if people do not really do their job, then somehow they will be questioned.
Yes.
They will be actually, they will be put in a tough situation.
When it's game time, it's game time.
Yeah, so they like, I can embarrass people. Also knowing the business is very important for me. And this is something I can leverage on. So
yes.
I know the business in and out. We are in a meeting where like an operation or production manager who's trying to really
make stuff up,
make things like around, then like I get him, and then he will get it from me, and that's helped me a lot. But now by this time, khalas, people, as I said, people are very smart. By this time they know that. Now, okay, at the beginning I used to really have a lot of those people. Then one guy like come to my office, he just opened the door and hey, like as one of his like buddies and all this in front of people. That's something you have to have also respect for the person, but also for the position. I can't really run a company where I'm not really respected as a CEO. So it's a tough balance.
Sure.
But I guess the personality just say it all. So if your personality is my personality is like I can get along with you, but sorry, if you step in my in my area where it's not really appropriate, I will stop you.
Yes.
So, and I think this has helped me a lot. By this time now, people know that.
People know that, and if they don't, they'll figure it out very quickly. Steve Jobs said that if you want everyone to be happy with you, don't be a leader. Yeah. Sell ice cream. Mm-hmm. Because as a leader, you'll have to make tough decisions. Can you tell us of a time where you've had to make a tough decision that people didn't like? But you're making that tough decision like any good CEO for the greater good of the company long term. Okay. Except for the lean time, because that already, you choosing to be lean.
Mm-hmm. No, that
was a great example.
That's another, like tough example. I mean, tough decisions are there. People, it's not like, I don't really believe people should really hate you to be a leader.
No, sure.
No, that's not really the case. But they should really respect you more than like somehow respect is more important than anything else.
Of course.
So I don't really see in the organization, I hope like not a lot of people would really hate me more than like they respect me, and if I'm tough in one position, they know what's behind it.
Sure.
So when you really when you are about to take such a decision, you need to really be very careful that it really meant something for the organization. So for example, if I stop like giving a bonus in such a year, people should really know what's behind this. It's not just because maybe we would not really make good money, more than like it's a safety related issue, for example. Mm-hmm. So it's something bigger than like or like if I have to take a tough decision to really dismiss someone, or like change their organization chart, like change something in the organization where a lot of people will lose their position at least, because we never hire people, fire people for such things. But if someone like just because we decided to really reduce the function of such like let us say in the organization, in the area, and then like he needs to really know people need to know, the whole organization needs to know what is behind it.
Yes.
It's not something that because of,
not for the sake of it.
For the sake of it, or like because Kevin does not like it, or X, Y, who was like the manager was not really good, and then we change it because of that, or it has to have a meaning. Yes. For the organization more than anything, and this meaning is for the organization itself, not because of anything else. not because of people or anything else. Then people will understand, even
Yes.
though it's tough. But I had to dismiss someone because of safety issue. He took a shortcut. This is like a few years back. Was one of the super people, he knows steel in and out. Very experienced, very sharp, very shrewd person. But he tolerated things, and then he took a shortcut where that he jeopardized people's life, and it was a big issue. Luckily, we did not really have fatality, but it was big enough to really.
It was a risk.
It was significant, yeah. I had to dismiss that guy. There is no other way, yeah. And then imagine until today we are in touch. Of course, he went and he worked in some other business and all, but he tells me, Mr. Saeed, I really, truly understood what you
Had
did.
to do, yeah.
And then it's a big learning lesson for me, and I'm a much better person today. And actually, I'm even in my career, I'm being promoted. I'm because now I think different than before. So this is an example. There are many examples,
sure.
but sometimes you need to really take this stuff. I did not want to lose the guy because he was very experienced. He was there from the beginning, very hardworking. I hired him myself, but sometimes you really need to do things for the organization.
Yes.
Because after that, people cannot really know that X person did such a mistake, and then the organization
was tolerated,
and
yes.
nothing happened. That you cannot.
You're
really
really
do.
setting the tone.
Yeah, otherwise, then you will be biased. And such examples, also make the organization better and better.
Where do you get your discipline from? Have you always been so disciplined?
Honestly, I don't know, but I think my father played big role of it.
Okay.
My father, he used to be. I think this is one of the things that I really learned from him. He was very punctual, very responsible. He was also like me. He was in the middle in his
Okay.
and he was always looked up to by the other families. He was very known, even though he was not the oldest, but he was very known within the family, within the tribe, and all this. People knew him for his character, for his he was an honest person. He was very popular, and he was also very responsible and disciplined.
It sounds like it's an exact replica.
I think I hope so. I mean, I am nothing like my father, but okay, he was working in Adnok when I was growing up. I see him every single day. He has to really leave home at immediately after prayer, 4 o'clock, and comes back. And every day he's going at the same time. He's so determined about his work. Very responsible. Very very responsible about the job. He will never miss a day. I think it's just I see this when you see this while you're growing up. It just
Yes.
gets into you automatically.
And yeah, you saw it living by example, and
Exactly.
it became part of who you are.
And the way he actually, I think maybe he saw this in me, and then the way he was dealing with me by giving me all the responsibility, but also freedom to really do whatever. So he never he never comes and asks about my school and all this. I was alhamdulillah good at school, by any ways, but he was never been questioning So I used to really go out, study, play at the evening. I thought I was I had my freedom,
And did it help you mature at an earlier age? Do you feel like for your age,
for
growing
my
up,
age,
you're
I've been
mature?
always one thing also. I noticed I've been always hanging around older people. I don't
Okay.
know why. It's all my friends, all without no exceptions, are older than me. Even today, by the way.
Yes.
I don't know why, but this has been one of the things. Maybe perhaps also this is taught me a lot. As a kid, you learn also from your friends. And,
Absolutely. I mean, it's said that we are the average of the people we hang around with.
Definitely, yes. So I used to hang with my older brother and with his friends, and also my friends were always older than me and all this. So I guess that's also one of the things.
That's fantastic. What about sports? Because you were good at sports. What has sports over the years taught you?
I like sport. I love sport. I
Yeah.
like the challenge. I like the challenge. That's why, like, it's when there's a challenge and you achieve, the sport just like work. Yani. It's like, it's also achievement.
Yes.
When I was young, I used to play handball.
Yes.
Okay, I loved that game. I loved it. I can't even imagine. You can't
Love
even
isn't
imagine.
strong enough.
Enough to really go from. I used to go out from school like 2:30 in the morning. Sorry, 2:30 afternoon. Not to go home. I would just go to the club and just play around until the session starts 4:30. So I even
You were doing an extra couple of hours.
alone. Come on, yani, this is, now I remember this. I said, okay, maybe that's a little bit too much, but yani, even I tell like my mother before I go to school. I tell, okay, mother, like don't expect me after school today. I will go to the club. Saeed, you come at least like have lunch.
Eat
okay,
something,
there's time.
yeah.
Eat something. Mom, it's okay, fine. I will come later. So I used to do this very often. But that means I loved that game. And I think what was what I admire the most was the challenge. The handball is this local handball, not the American handball.
Yes.
There's conflict always. Like you are within the game.
Okay.
You're somehow fighting because you want to score and then people.
So it's quite physical.
Yeah, it's like there's physical touch and all this, and this is something I like. It's not because I want to really hurt someone.
Yes.
More than I felt this is something. Yeah, I, even physically, I'm strong.
Yes.
To really go and I mastered it. I was good. I mean, even I played. Even when I was so young, I was playing on the higher ranking age team.
Yes.
And even though I was so young within the big boys there, I was a little bit scared at that time. But at the point I think.
But your level of
yeah,
ability or skill.
my level was good, and then this is something built on my personality also. Have this challenge and if there's a conflict, no, I have to win, but in the right way. So even within the game, I used to really play rough, but I would never ever intentionally hurt someone or something, because it's also sometimes people they do this intentionally. And I even knew how to really protect myself, because if you are a good player in such a game, I don't know if you watch the game, but you will be hurt. You will be the most being hurt
Because you're a target.
Yeah, because you will be targeted because you are
Strategy for the game. Hurt him.
because you annoy them.
Yes.
I used to really know how to really protect myself. But I built on so many things. So I run I play also football. Weightlifting when I was in the US, I did 6 years of bodybuilding.
Yes.
That's also given me confidence. Sports by all means gives you this confidence.
Yes.
Anyways. Yeah. So that's why and even today my plan is to really go and jog after this interview.
Yeah. I mean, mashallah, you look good.
Thank you.
And you come across. It really shows, and it's so important because we live in a world. We live in a world that's so busy, and we have so much to do. You have so much to do. Running a large organization, you care very dearly about your family and the time you spend with them. And I'm going to ask you a question about that. But in the process, what many give away is their health or taking care of themselves, and it's really nice to see that. You really make it a priority, clearly,
Definitely.
even to this very day.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I'm different than people, but just because I like it.
Yes.
If you like something, you will make a time for it. So I guess I've been lucky because I like sport. That's why I make time for it. But definitely, it's one of my top agenda, because it helps me to really relax. Also, not only to be healthy, but also relax my mind when
Yes.
you do sport and all. You feel better after a tough exercise day, and it's clear out your mind after a long day. Also, that's
Like a form of meditation? Would you say this is your way of?
Yeah. That's I think it's if you try it, some people it varies, but
Yes.
I'm one of the type where if I have a really hard, after a really hard working out day, I feel better.
Yes.
I feel better after all.
Yes, I'm also like that. For me, is if I go for a jog or just a walk, if I go for a coffee, or if I go for a workout, that usually decompresses my mind.
Exactly.
Even if I'm tired when I walk in.
Exactly. But something I like, so it's
Yeah.
good. I guess I'm lucky.
Yeah,
I like that.
And it's really what resonates as well with me is what you're saying. If I like it, I'll make the time. Yeah. Since you brought up conflict with handball, how do you deal with conflict? Because this is a challenge I face, and I think just about everyone else faces. We don't know, very often, we don't know how to deal with conflict. Have you found a way of dealing with conflict, especially since you're dealing with so many different people?
There's no one way to really deal with conflicts. It's just like, it depends on the situation, I guess. But one thing I learned, and I learned it maybe in the hard way, is not to really respond immediately. You
Good
just
one.
need to really think a little bit, then you decide what to do. If you respond immediately, then somehow you if you are, because you if there's a conflict, let us say we are in an argument, or there's
And
something,
it's heated.
and then you take one line, then it's very difficult to really come back, especially as CEO. Even I'm talking about within the organization.
Yes.
Sometimes because alhamdulillah we are free enough to really have this conversation within the meeting or conflict. So for me, I used sometimes to really respond quickly. Let us say a manager says something or something, and then I respond. Then I took this line where there's no way back. As a CEO, is also a problem when you take one stand. It's not that sometimes it's difficult to really take another line. From my side, I always change my mind. By the way, if it's wrong,
If it needs to.
I have no problem, alhamdulillah, and I think this is something also I'm very proud of.
That's such a critical point.
I and I always tell my team. So if I say something and then it turns out, even after the meeting, someone say something else, and then I feel maybe what my approach or my thinking or my decision was not really correct, on spot I change it, and I tell them that.
No ego issues.
No, by all means, and I think that's really gives the people the comfort to really come back and speak to you about it. Otherwise, you lose it all. So if you are a person who will say, okay, we're doing this today and this way, khalas, finish. Then nobody will really have this courage to really come back and
share with you more
share
information.
With you information, and maybe what he thinks differently, which is most often is correct, by the way. That's amazing me sometimes. Okay, I feel this is the way, and then we have this conversation, and then someone brings not necessarily exactly the change, but he brings in an idea where it's a bit different than what I think. Then I realize, no, maybe we should really do it in the other way. And you can't really imagine how good this is reflect this in the organization, because you had so many birds with one stone.
Yes.
First of all, the guy is is admiring the situation because his opinion was being
He was heard. Yes.
Yes, it was heard, and then it was taken. And then second, also I'm teaching the people that okay, I can make mistakes. Everybody can make mistakes. Even my decision could really be wrong if you don't really help me. So help me to really also do the right things, no matter what. Even if I say something, it turns out not to be really the right thing. Speak out, And I think this is important.
That's fantastic, because as a CEO, you're constantly having to make decisions.
Yes.
But your ability to be able to go, okay, if with the new information we need to adjust, you're okay to adjust
but
it.
there are occasions where there's no way back.
Sure.
You have to really decide.
That's your decision, and boom.
That's it. And I think the good CEO should really know the difference.
Yes.
When you decide, and otherwise, if you decide more to the bad decisions where you don't really involve people, then also you are in trouble.
Yes.
But sometimes you need to really decide because you see things people don't really see.
Sure.
Sometimes it comes also from one line, and then you see the bigger picture where you need to decide for others' sake. So you might upset a little bit this guy.
Sure.
But eventually he would know because of the sake of the business, not just because of anything else.
And the fact that you're the kind of person who does, change when needed. So if you're persistent on a decision, there's obviously a reason for it.
Definitely.
And so perhaps their buy-in is even a lot stronger.
Again, you have to relink it to something meaningful.
Yes.
And meaningful is for the sake of the business or something and number one is human beings. If it's related to a person or people where that's really affect their life, that's
top priority
in terms of safety, for example, or something meaningful for the organization. And then what is the good for the business. So people, once they link that, then absolutely no problem. Again, I would be upset for 1 day or 2 days knowing that I was not really My idea was not really taken, but I would know inside out that after sometimes that the decision was taken because of the sake of the business. So I would not really be upset.
For the bigger reason.
For the bigger reason, exactly.
Family is very important for you. You have a wife, you have 4 beautiful kids. How do you balance for individuals who are ambitious? It's, some people work very hard. So they're working at 6 in the morning to 12 midnight. And so they're just really just burning that midnight oil. And sometimes it comes at the cost of family time. How do you balance that?
Well, I'll be very honest. Okay, I try.
Yes.
But it's never been 100% balance. Just to be very, very honest, because also sometimes it's very tough to really take care of all these issues. Yeah. But let us say, I try to really have family first, which is working, and I think big help there, or the most important thing that happens to me is my wife.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, she's first of all she's home. She does not work, and she's very supportive.
Yes.
Very, very supportive. MashaAllah, educated.
Yes.
Very, very smart. She's very. She contains the kids, and she's like so she's taken most of the job. Yes. Just to be very honest.
Yes.
But I always, as I said, because what you love, you make time for.
Yes.
So I make time for them.
But it also seems that from what we've chatted so far, also off camera, you're on the same wavelength.
Definitely, yes. So like they're. I always make time for them because I like it. It's not just because I'm trying, yani. And I hang around with them. We always go to movies, sit together, take the family to Dubai here and there. We travel at least once or twice a year, and this is the best time for me because we are all in one area, the whole family. So we travel for 1-2 weeks to somewhere, and I'm always closer to them. And this is where you learn from them, but also they learn from you, and they it's this binding happens most of the time. Alhamdulillah, I consider them very good kids, very good kids. They're very decent, very smart, mashallah, and at school. No troublemaking overall, which is I think it's amazing. But I think it comes from the mother.
Yes.
She's very disciplined, alhamdulillah, very smart, very caring. Now, okay, Maryam, she's almost 15, 16 years old. I never ever hit one of my kids, never, alhamdulillah. Okay, and we're as I said, they're very good kids. If there's any issues or something, we just simply come, sit with them. We have this conversation, a talk, and we're all through. So it's alhamdulillah, I cannot really ask more.
Yes.
I'm very lucky.
God's blessing.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Family aside, what are you most proud of? Because I know family's first.
Okay, family first.
So family aside, what are you most proud of? It's like Kevin's giving me a headache.
Because I don't want to really speak about myself. Can I say about work, or
sure, whatever you like. Would you like a croissant?
No, I'm okay.
Can I get you a tea or coffee?
No.
There's only going to be a few more closing questions, and then
Okay,
this guy is giving me a headache.
I thought we spoke. I did not expect that we'll talk this much, honestly. I don't know. It's like something.
And I'm enjoying it so much.
I was going to say, I'm just enjoying it. From here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our intention is with each episode, because different personalities. So I have a comedian, I have an actor, I have a social media influencer, I'm an athlete, a 17-year-old who's on YouTube, CEOs like yourself. And what we really hope is just, not every episode would be for everyone. But what we hope is that with each episode, there'll be a certain voice, a certain style, a certain vibe. And then, my brother is inspired, I'm super inspired. If we can just get 100 people or 1,000 people to just be inspired by that guest's voice, then we've served our purpose in terms of...
But I think especially, someone like yourself and at that caliber, this sort of conversations, it really humanizes you. People just see a CEO of that company, and it's just a reminder that we're humans.
Human beings.
You can be like him,
Yeah.
Definitely. And the humans part of it is actually more important than anything else. And I can't really stop talking about it. It always comes.
It's true. You even started with this, yeah.
It always comes, because it's natural, yeah. And I hope people will take it positively, because some people also they think that you are bluffing or but honestly, no. It's just being yourself, being the way you are. That's what makes you. Because people eventually, whatever you do, it will comes back.
Yes.
So if you are this filthy and nasty person, you will be trying to be not so for 1, 2, 3, okay, well, maybe a month, maybe a year, but eventually you will come back to your
natural
stuff, and then people would know.
Yes.
So just take it from day one. So if you are a good person, then it's actually easier, because people would like you anyways.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's, alhamdulillah, I hope I'm like this. That's why people in the organization, they like me. Otherwise, then I can really just be trying, and then eventually I will come back to my.
And you said it. You said that people are smart these days. Kids these days are so quick. They can spot if you're not authentic. And I mean, a 5-year-old kid will say, "I like this person, or I don't like him." They're so sharp today.
Exactly.
And even the adults, they can tell if you're making it up.
Exactly.
People won't even last 3 months. 15 minutes.
Yeah, they will know.
Sure.
Somebody like you also, who who a lot of people now, they also read. They know your body language, so they know.
Yeah.
They know.
I forgot the question, but I think it was what are you most
what's
proud
the
of?
problem?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
You can take it in any direction you like. I guess the reason I'm asking this question is, at some stage in my life, I was proud to be able to, hit a certain level, so that to make my parents proud. And then at a certain stage of my life,
I was going to say that, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, from work, as being a CEO, the first CEO in UAE National, heading the economic committee in the World Steel Association, alhamdulillah, well known within the industry. I think this is something, and build up such a company. I'm very proud of.
Yes.
And I think this is. I hope people would give me credit for that.
100%.
But if you tell me today, what makes me even more ambitious and try more and more, is that I know that my father and my mother, and especially my father, is proud of me. Honestly, they both passed away. By the way,
God rest their soul.
Allah yarhamhum.
Allah yarham.
I think even before my father passed away, I could really feel that he was so proud.
Even when he didn't mention it,
yes,
but you
as you said,
it.
even though he was not really mentioning it to me, but I can really hear it from his voice, from his sights, from the way he looked at me, the way he talks to me about me, outside, and I think that makes me makes me where I am today. But also I want to really do more for him, of course, for myself and for my family. But also I would say this is really good to drive for me. Another thing I'm very proud of is that my whole family, my brothers, my sisters, alhamdulillah, they look at me as a supporter. So
Yes.
if anybody has an issue, he would first come to me. So when you have this person in your life that okay, if I have a trouble, it's all
The go-to person.
Yeah, it's the go-to, and
Yes.
it's usually your father, by the way.
Yes.
And I felt that after he passed away, even though when you are old, but sometimes you feel you need someone. So this person, I feel now,
You're that someone.
I'm that person for my eldest sisters, and my younger sisters and brothers, and I think this is something I'm really proud of. I mean something for someone. So
Yes.
Someone is looking up to me. If something happens, I'm there, and also they're very proud of me. Alhamdulillah, they always they I can see it even on the WhatsApp. They the profile. It's always my picture. If I'm in in a speech, or if I'm somewhere on the TV, then
Super.
which is
You're like their anchor.
Yeah. So then they put in their profile picture and all this. So that's
Mashallah.
I think alhamdulillah, that's something
Alhamdulillah,
very
it's
very
fantastic.
proud of.
That's super. What advice would you say was the best advice you received?
From whom?
Whoever comes to you at any stage in your life, an advice that has really fundamentally. You can only do this with friends.
Yeah, sure, it's okay. I'm trying to really find something like, from an old manager or, okay, we talk about my father. He's, okay, he's been always a supporter by not talking, by just like, being what
Guiding.
he was, like, guiding, but the way he was.
Uh-huh.
Only. So just like, leading by example. He wasn't really also a talker more than like, a doer. But I'm trying to think of someone else. I can think of one.
Sure.
Okay. Actually, it's one of my old managers. He advised me to be close to people. He actually he noticed that, as I said, like, once I started, I was also. He said, Saeed, you have one strong thing in your personality, build on it. I said, what? He said, okay, people somehow like you, please. He said, stay where you are, like, be close to people.
Nice.
And it was very, very, like, it was striking. I was doing it, but when someone comes and tell you
He
that,
made you aware of
it's
it.
like, yes, he brought, let us say, he did bring it up, out for me. And then I said, yeah, maybe that's something like, I need to do. So it was a really good advice.
That's fantastic. Could you share with me a time where the obvious answer to many would have been to say yes to an opportunity that was offered to you, but you said no to it, and perhaps why?
Okay. Okay. Well, I have an example. I was offered to really a chairmanship of one organization. It made really sense at that time because it's a very prestigious and like and it will give me like this prestigious and but I refused because I thought I believed even though that there was so much pressure from everywhere to really take it. I did not really take it because I thought I would not really have a good contribution, and that's not because of me, more than like because of the system. I used to be a member of that organization.
So,
and then I was offered.
They're giving you the
chairman.
opportunity to
Yes.
be a chairman.
Yes.
The prestige is great.
Definitely.
Everyone around you wants to have for you to have this prestige.
They were fighting for it, yeah, and okay.
And yet you say no because you can't have enough input in it, or any input in it.
I believe I did not really regret it, that I would not really have good contribution. Again, not because of me, more than like because I felt I could not really change. I did not like the organization, like the way it was run and all this, for so many reasons. And I thought because of the system, I would not really have this input. I would not really take it to the next level. I will come, it will stay as it is, and this is something I don't want to really do.
You like to leave a mark.
Yes, I need to really leave a mark. Otherwise, it's not really worth it. It's not it's not really the show that I'm after, more than like the legacy I need to really put behind if I leave, and that's why I did not really. Until today, some people even like their pressure was from top to bottom. By the way,
Yes.
like even
You should be taking this.
Yeah, well, like why did you refuse? Why did until the last minute? Then like they were trying, and then I just turn it down. I did not really take it.
Since you brought it up, what is the legacy you'd like to leave behind? 500 years from now, history is going to read, His Excellency Saeed Al Remeithi was.
Okay, he was okay. A CEO of CEO of Emirates. Okay, I'm still like an ordinary person.
Yes.
And Kevin. So I think what I want to achieve for myself and for my family is really good enough for that. Okay, to have this international exposure, for example, to be a minister or to be. This is something also I'm looking for, but. Also, just to be honest and to be also realistic, I will not be Bill Gates or I will not be Stephen Jobs.
But you're leaving a mark.
Yeah, for leaving my mark, and the business and where this is I think what I want to do. So
yes.
So when this steel manufacturing, for example, comes across, my name is there, something like this, And unfortunately, this business is not really known like in the whole world 100%. More than like it's a steel industry only, but I need to leave a mark within my area.
Yes.
Like, within my area, and of course, to have a legacy for my family, also for my kids and for my brothers, to really as you said, for my whole family, for the next generation, that okay, our grandfather,
Yes.
Saeed, was this guy who
He was the man of steel.
Okay, he was he was the man of steel. He was okay. I mean, work-wise, but also from the humanity point of view, was was there for us. So I left something for them.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. What's the worst piece of advice you've received? Because as much as there's good advice, we also receive a lot of rubbish advice. Sometimes we know it's rubbish immediately, and sometimes with time we're going to go, that was rubbish advice. Can you think of a time you were given rubbish advice?
Yes. I can remember one time I had this conversation with one of the employees who was so upset about something, and he was somehow, I would not really say mean, but he was he was upset, and he was talking his voice was, he was loud, and he was upset simply. And then I was trying to be very acceptance, I would say, take it. I know he was not really in his mood. And then there was also one person with me, and okay, so I accommodate him, I calm him down and everything, and then he left. And the other guy was saying, Saeed, you should be tough with such a person. You are the CEO. You are the CEO. He should not really talk to you like this. I thought that was so. I told him, what do you think I should have done to? He said, you should really kick him out from your office. I told him, no, that would never happen, because he's not. If I do this, then what is the message that I'm sending? I'm a CEO, yes, but okay, he was upset, and then he's.
And you knew this wasn't his normal state.
Yeah, he was not really. And this happens very often. So I thought that was some people, they don't really think, they think of the position more than it's because you are CEO, so nobody should really talk to you like this. Yeah, I accept that. Respect is really important, but there's tolerance a little bit here and there.
Yes.
People also are feeling. Sometimes also I get upset. If someone if my wife does not really tolerate this and do not accept it, then also we'll have an issue. So you have to really balance it.
Yes. You have 4 beautiful kids. I'm sure they've learned a lot from you and your wife, and I'm sure they will continue to learn a lot. But if we were to say, hypothetically speaking, you could only impart one skill or one trait or one way of thinking to give them the best chance to have their best lives, what would be that one thing you'd like to teach them?
Be responsible.
Be responsible.
Be responsible.
That's a good one. That's fantastic.
Nothing new, but I think it's very important. And this is what I teach them, by the way. Be responsible. My kids, even they are from grade 1, they have their own budget. So they have their own salary, and then they manage their expense.
Really?
Yeah, the persons, okay, sometimes it's always, not sometimes, it's over budget. It's always
It's always over budget.
but just to really, this is, one way, just to really teach them how to really manage their and being responsible of money, and also certain things. And as I said, alhamdulillah, the wife is very helpful in this. So we are teaching them to be responsible. And again, it's not only what you tell them, but also how
they
do
see
it.
you living it.
Yes. So if Muhammad, for example, he knows if I have an appointment at 4 o'clock, I'll be there. I take Muhammad, and by the way, this is something also I did not share with you. I love off-roading.
Okay. Yes.
I love this sport. I go almost every 2 weekends with my friends and all this. And I took Muhammad with me and all this. And alhamdulillah, even there, I'm always a leader. I don't know why, but I lead the group, and June riding and all that. So if we say, okay, let us say meet at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, we are there. If I have an appointment elsewhere, I'm rushing, and I have to be there on time. And so I'm responsible, not only of time, but in my whole life. So
Yes.
I teach him, if you are, if you are committed, and if you say something that you want to do, you have to be very committed. You have to be responsible of your words, responsible of your family, responsible of your sisters. You have to be responsible, and you need to lead by example. So if he sees me so passionate about me being on time, being responsible, and even I'm sick, I'm at work because I'm I have important meeting. He comes and tell me, why you are at work until 7 o'clock. I have this meeting because it's really important and all this. Of course he would learn.
It
Just
rubs
like I
off.
learned from my father, he would also learn.
That's beautiful. Man, I really appreciate the fact that you took the time, that you shared so much with us. And I hope and I believe that there's so much that can be learned, because I'm a huge admirer, me and thousands of people, regionally and globally. And I think this, what they will hear on the podcast and the video will more, I think a lot of people will resonate with it.
I hope so. Thank you for having me today. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
I really loved it. Thank you so much. I hope what I've said could really be helpful, even little to someone out there. But I really appreciate it. I felt very comfortable with this interview.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Before we close off, can I ask you this? In a world where people's attention is rarely there, if you had 60 seconds and you had the world's attention, what would be your advice to anyone to lead the best life they can?
Okay, I would say, look at the things around you. You will find a lot of things are good happening, even though there are a lot of challenges, a lot of bad things happening in your life. But look at the one or two good things in your life, and this is where you need to build up your life around, and be happy around it. So if you are married with kids, you're happy with your kids. This is your blessed.
Blessing,
You
yes.
know, it's really a blessing, and then this is where you your life, live your life happy because of this. If you are divorced but also you have kids, that's where if you are jobless but you are comfortable or with your family, you have to really have something really I would say positive and really good around you to really build up your life around it, and just be happy.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of good things around in the life that for you to really leverage and to really hold on to make you happy.
Yes. It really reminds me, this is great advice, because we're so very often looking at the things that go wrong. Off camera you mentioned, there could be someone who's super wealthy and they're looking at one area in their life. Mm-hmm. They have everything. Definitely. The one area they don't have, and that's what they're focusing on, and they're unhappy about it.
Sure.
There was a teacher, and she had students, and what she did was she gave them a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. And she asked every single student to look at the piece of paper. Now this piece of paper was a white piece of paper with a big black dot in the middle of it. And after a minute that the students had looked at the piece of paper, she asked each one of them what they had seen on the piece of paper. And every single person said, I saw the black dot. Mm-hmm. And she said, this is life. In life,
you always see
you
oversee the good things, but also you focus only on this.
Absolutely. In life, it's so easy to fall, and where we just focus on the black dot, when what life has is a lot of white space. And all you need to do is just change your focus. And what you said just reminded me of that.
You need to really constantly to really take your thinking away from it.
Yes.
We are all those kids, by the way.
Yes.
I'm not really saying I don't really see the bad or the black spot. You always look at it, but you always also need to really take yourself away from it by looking at the other things and leverage on them, saying,
yes.
okay, maybe I have this problem today. Okay, my financial is not so good, but alhamdulillah, I have my family.
Yeah.
Which is more important. And then I build on this. So the money will come one day.
Yes.
But my family is there. Let me live with them in this moment. Let us really have this happiness with them.
Yes.
And I guess if you do this, very open, inshallah, one day you'll be a happy person as a person. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a fountain of wisdom.
No, thank you.
And I hope we can do this again. I know we've taken a lot of your time. Folks, wow. Here's a friend that I have admired for many years. Like I said, there are a lot of people that admire this gentleman. regionally and globally. But this conversation has taken it even to the next level for me. And I really hope that if you've watched this video or you're listening to this podcast, it has done the same thing for you as well. I'm going to be taking summary notes like I always do. And I can guarantee you that when you go over this video a second time, or if you listen to this podcast a second time, Saeed had shared some amazing, amazing wisdom. Like that just came to me. He's a fountain of wisdom. Really, he really is.
Thank you.
And if you just take one of the things he said and apply it in your life, I can guarantee that your life will be in a different place, no matter who you are, what you do, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a CEO, whether you're doing charity work, anything that you're doing. As always, this show is not about showing off. This show is about helping you get inspired, get informed, and get going. And I believe we've done that in this episode. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I'll try and answer them. Saeed is busy. I'm not going to expect Saeed to answer any of the questions, but perhaps I might ask him a few questions through video, and he might be able to share with me some video messages, and we'll put it on the socials. Otherwise, I'll have another guest answer your questions and share with you their perspective in terms of answers to your questions. Either way, we'll make sure we put it out there for you. I hope you benefited from this. This man is not only a leader of a large organization, he's a leader in life. He's a leader when he's going out sand bashing, is that what they call it?
Yes, or off-roading.
Off-roading. Yeah. He's a leader with his off-roading, he's a leader with his family, he's a leader in wherever you put him, he's a leader. And guaranteed if you drop him anywhere, he will be a leader there as well. And it shows, and the reasons of which you would have picked up in this video and you would have picked up listening to this podcast. I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. This is How Do They Do It? What was the question?
Skills.
It was so good, you should have just taken it, man.
Yeah, well, it was so good.